Group has been supporting Noramco for many years, and today we're here to provide some specific training on Carroll portable cord products. What is portable cord? In the simplest definition, a portable cord is a cable with multiple conductors used for temporary electrical power connections requiring flexibility. Today, you'll learn there are numerous differences between different types of cords from a performance and applications perspective. With that, I'd like to hand it off to Neil Piggott, who is responsible for the Carroll Cord product portfolio in the Canadian market.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Neil Piggott. Hopefully everybody's keeping safe and being well. Just a little bit about the agenda for this afternoon. As Zach mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit about the Carroll business, core basics, and just run over the portfolio of our multiple offerings: rubber, industrial, specialty, welding, and plastic. And then we'll end with a Q&A. So the Carroll brand itself was originated back in 1949, and over the years with acquisitions and whatnot, whether it was General Cable or the Prysmian Group, the Carroll names actually stayed constant through those years. So it went from Carroll to the Carroll brand in 2000, and as you see it today as just Carroll. I'm going to run through some cord basics here. So basically, as Zach mentioned again, as you know, the portable cord is used for temporary power requiring 600 volts or less. I'm sorry about that dog in the background. Some of our industrial cables actually do go up to 2 kV or 2000 volts. I also want to stress that knowing what your application is essential in your choice and in product performance. The cords, you would basically use them for constant flexing, whether there's swings in temperatures and where conditions are calling for oil and specific chemicals. So they'll be using them at construction sites, plants and factories, and also within the entertainment industry. Actual makeup of the cord itself, it's a fully annealed copper conductor with the insulation over the conductor and the jacket to protect that insulation. And for fillers that keep the jacket's form and round. Next slide, Zach. Okay, and here are some designations used in the industry themselves. Are, you know, maybe the main focus, not our only focus, would be our SOWs and the SJOWs. So as you can see, the S would stand for, or be service rated to 600 volts. Once you put the J behind it, that service rating goes down to 300 volts. The OO, which designates oil resistant conductor insulation and the jacket, and W is the water resistant jacket designation. As you can see to the right of that, the picture of what's written on the cable itself, you will see the SOW there, along with our name, Carroll, conductor size, and our temperature rating. There are multiple stranding classes, I guess, for different conductor sizes. And the higher the cable's designation, the higher the strand, which would mean, in this case, more flexibility. Some characteristics between rubber and plastic. Since there are not too many manufacturers in the industry anymore that manufacture rubber, let alone in North America. So some of the characteristics of rubber would be the high flexibility in both room and cold temperatures. They're also used for the high heat applications, and their mechanical integrity remains when they're excessive heat or if there's actual open flame close to the cable itself. In case of a thermal event, extremely high heat, the insulation in the jacket will remain with the conductor, as opposed to a plastic jacket, which would melt. Rubber also has a lower dielectric constant, providing greater dielectric strength, and is also heavier than the actual plastic equivalent. Plastic itself will melt in high heat and is stiffer in cold temperatures, but is lighter in weight compared to rubber, and is actually easier to mold as well. Slide, Zach. Okay, this chart will show the difference in compounds under various properties. And as you can see, that rubber would be the #1 choice for the different variables that are shown to the left of the screen. The slide is showing our Carroll portfolio and what categories our portable cords fall under. For example, our popular industry cords, the SOO, SJOOW, Super Vu-Tron cables will fall under the rubber cord umbrella. Our Type W, Type G, Type Ggc, and Stage Light and Dlo would fall under the industrial umbrella. Slide, Zach. And next is our welding cables and our plastic cords with elastomers and thermoplastic jackets.
Neil, just real quick on that. So Carroll Portfolio is our brand name for our standard SOOW cords, and then also our standard welding cable. And then Super Vu-Tron is also specific to the Prysmian Group, and that's our more premium product line that we offer in those products.
Right. Thanks, Jeff. Okay, talk a little bit about their True Mark feature. It's actually a very excellent feature and a huge time saver, whether you're out in the field or just cutting the material in a shop. You'll always know how much material is remaining on your reel, and you will avoid coming up short on specific jobs, especially when you're out in the field. The rubber cords, as I mentioned earlier, are most popular are probably the SOO and the SJOOWs, and they run anywhere from 10 gauge to 18 gauge and anywhere from 2 to 4 conductors. They come with a class K stranding, which in this case, they would use 30 gauge wires for multiple sizes. Okay, when we're talking about our good, better, and on the next slide, you will see our best. Basically, there's related to specific criteria, whether it's temperature range, ranging anywhere from 90 degrees C, which would be our Carroll Portfolio, all the way up to 105 degrees C, which would be our Super Vu-Tron 3 and our Super Vu-Tron Supreme. Coming with high visibility, you'll have a black jacket, and in some cases, you will also have a yellow jacket for that reason. And then it comes down to your economic price point. Obviously the good would be at a lower price point than your better or your best in that case. I wanted to point out for the Super Vu-Tron Supreme, they do come with tinned copper conductors and for corrosion purposes, and also have a very strong, ultra flexible Class M strand. Okay, on the previous slide, you saw probably in the little right-hand corner there about our GenClean technology. And this would just be our, cleanable jacket offering, which would have the similar properties to the Super Vu-Tron Supreme. But like I said, with the enhanced cleanability on the jacket. These are used mostly in the food and beverage industries, marine applications, mobile homes, and OEM, and also have great abrasion and cut resistant properties.
Neil,
Hey,
just
Jeff.
to emphasize on this, so our GenClean is actually a newer product that we rolled out a few years back, and basically it was an upgrade to our best cable offering that we already had in the portfolio. At the time, we said our best cord just got better. And essentially what it is the GenClean is a proprietary coating that we put on the cable that makes it easier to clean. And essentially, in different applications, it can just be squirted off, with water, come clean, or very light rubbing. So it's definitely ideal for food and beverage manufacturing facilities, not necessarily food rated, so it can't necessarily come in contact with food, but in manufacturing facilities and marine applications are really ideal for this market.
Excellent. So advantages of choosing rubber, the high flexibility, durability, the resistance, tear resistance, abrasion resistance, melt, oil, water, and chemical, and also have great impact resistant qualities. Are heavy and multi-conductors, and they run from 2 gauge to 8 gauge, and anywhere from 5 to 50 conductors. Come with a class K stranding, so they would be using 30 gauge wires for the majority of the sizes. High flexibility, high resistance to water and sunlight, and weather and abrasions. So our industrial cord offering, we're starting off with our Type W Extra Flex, and that would run anywhere between 8 gauge to 250 kc mil for a single conductor. Uses the EPDM insulation with a black rubber jacket. There is actual a braid between the insulation and the jacket for better mechanical strength, and these are used for 2000 volt applications.
One thing to comment here on our Type W, the 4/0 Type W is our number one cable used for portable power in the event of a hurricane. Also last year, when there were a lot of field hospitals, COVID related, and treatment centers that were kind of the pop-up treatment centers that were put up, 4/0 industrial flex, the Type W Extra Flex was the number one choice of cable used for those different applications. So if you have anything in disaster related recoveries, it's a great product to use for those applications.
That would be similar to our Type W multi-conductor as well, Jeff, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is the next slide, running anywhere from 8 gauge to 500 kc mil and 2 to 5 conductors as well. Has the same similar insulation as the Extra Flex with the EPDM insulation, still rated for 2000 volts, temperature ranging -40 to +90. Our Type G and Ggc cables, our Ggc would represent a 3-conductor type cable, and our Type G would represent a 4-conductor type cable. The Ggc gauges are 8 to 500 kc mil, and the G is 8 gauge to 4/0, I'm sorry. This comes with our Super Vu-Tron black rubber jacket. Our Dlo cable was specifically made initially for the diesel locomotive industry, but specific industries found that the properties that this cable has, with the high flexibility, the tin stranding to avoid corrosion and high impact resistance, that it can also be used and performed in like the mining industry, shipyards, and also wind farms.
And specific to wind farms, it's actually used more so for the battery applications with wind farms. So it helps retain the actual power that the wind is generating.
Welding cord. It comes with a class K stranding, so those are 30 gauge wires. Comes in either black or a red jacket, and has great temperature properties of -50 degrees C up to 105 degrees C, with great flexibility and abrasion resistance. Our Super Vu-Tron welding has a different type of stranding. It's a little more flexible with a class M with 34 gauge wires. Has the orange jacket for safety purposes, still rated to -50 degrees C. Excellent flexibility for areas that really have tight bends in them. that's when you would use the Super Vu-Tron welding. And last but not least, quick overview of our plastic cords. So our SE would be the 600 volt E with the elastomer jacket. SJ, service junior rated, also with an elastomer jacket. Very lightweight and good flexibility. Predominantly used for power tools, light fixtures, office equipment, etc. It's not as good in lower temperatures, or as abrasion resistant as rubber. So rubber would be the choice of most. And with that, I will hand it over to Zach.
Thank you, Neil. So why choose Prysmian Group? I think if you just look at this Carroll presentation, you'll notice that there's a wide range of products here for many different market verticals and positioned from a good, better, best positioning perspective. You're not typically going to find our cord for household use in your local local hardware store. But what we're targeting is high performance, usually applications, industrial applications where service, quality, and pre-sales, after-sales support are critical to maintaining those particular applications or facilities. But over and above just our products, one of the things we wanted to highlight was really our commitment to the Canadian marketplace. Over and above just the products, we're more local than you think. So Prysmian Group, from a Canadian perspective, we employ over 580 people in Canada, have 4 manufacturing plants and our country head office distribution center here in Canada. When you talk about the people we have here, we have our leadership, our technical engineering staff, we have manufacturing and obviously specific product management capabilities here as well. So when it comes to real support, whether it's pre-sales and after sales, and more importantly, when something goes wrong, there's always somebody here to answer the phone and help you out in those particular situations.